you started teaching a class, I think, a few weeks before October 7th. So I'm interested in your experiences, your feelings in those first hours.
The October 7th attack happened on a Saturday. By Saturday night, a very dear friend of mine who was in Israel called to tell me that members of her family had been at one of the kibbutzes that had been attacked, and they weren't sure what had happened. It turned out that the parents of 3 young children were killed, and the 2 older siblings had hidden literally for more than 24 hours, but the little toddler daughter had been taken as hostage. So this was a Wednesday after the Saturday. It was in many ways one of the more meaningful experiences. And this was before all of the protests and everything else happened. I talked about how the students had to keep competing thoughts in their head. They had to, number one, understand that Hamas was a terrorist organization that committed a massacre, and Israel had a right to defend itself, and Israel had to obey the rules of war insofar as possible. We only talked for like 30 minutes about what we were supposed to talk about, and then we had the students ask questions. The very first student was a Palestinian student. The third student was an Israeli student. So this was in real time. The Palestinian student was, quite emotional but very defensive. The Israeli student actually knew people who'd been at the music festival and was, very upset and wondering what would happen. And then students from literally all over the world. At the end of the question period, gave us a standing ovation. 3 days later, they were calling me a war criminal. So we watched how we went from what had been a very authentic, difficult conversation with nearly 400 young people from all over the world, where they listened to each other respectfully, to what happened afterwards.